The camera slowly zooms in on a lonely park bench under the orange evening sky. A small boy sits there, holding a little cactus in his hands, its tiny spines catching the last rays of sunlight. His voice trembles as he whispers, "They said he was too spiky to hug, but no one ever tried." And from that moment, you can't look away, because what follows is not just a story about a cactus. It's a story about people, about how sometimes the ones who seem hardest to love are the ones who need it the most. It started with a boy named Arif. He was 11, quiet, and withdrawn. His classmates called him the porcupine because he snapped easily. He didn't like being touched, didn't laugh at jokes, and never joined in games. If someone tried to talk to him, he would shut down, look away, and say something sharp enough to make them regret it. "Stay away from him," the kids would whisper. "He's too spiky to hug." At home, things weren't much better. His father, a mechanic, was always tired and short-tempered. His mother worked long shifts as a nurse, leaving early and coming home after dark. Their conversations had become a blur of "did you eat?" and "go to sleep." Arif didn't feel seen, not at school, not at home. He started spending his afternoons at an old park near his street. That's where he met the cactus. It was small, planted in a cracked ceramic pot, left abandoned near the trash bin behind the park bench. Its soil was dry, its color fading to a dull green. Still, somehow it stood tall. Arif picked it up, brushed off the dust, and stared at its tiny spikes. "You look like me," he muttered. "Nobody wants to come near you." He took it home, placed it on the windowsill, and watered it. Every day after school, he'd talk to it, about the bullies, about how lonely he felt, about how his parents barely noticed when he was around. The cactus didn't speak back, of course, but it listened. Over time, it started to bloom, tiny white flowers pushing through the spines. Arif smiled for the first time in weeks. "Guess you just needed someone to care, huh?" That night, his mother walked in quietly and saw him talking to the cactus. For the first time, she noticed how grown-up he looked and how sad. She wanted to hug him, but something about his silence made her hesitate. She turned off the light and closed the door gently. Days passed. Arif began to change. He still kept to himself, but when a classmate dropped their books, he helped pick them up. When someone forgot their pencil, he offered his. People noticed point one day. A new student named Ria joined the class. She was cheerful, talkative, and for some reason, she sat next to Arif. Everyone told her, "Don't talk to him. He's too spiky." But she didn't listen. Every morning, she'd greet him with a smile, even when he didn't reply. When he finally muttered a shy "hi" one day, she grinned. "See? Not that spiky." Something cracked open in Arif that day, a warmth he didn't know he still had. They started talking during breaks, sharing snacks, even laughing a little. Slowly, the porcupine boy became just Arif. But life has a way of testing you right when you start to heal. Point one evening, Arif came home to an argument. His father had lost his job, and the stress had pushed his temper past its edge. Angry words filled the air, words that shouldn't have been said. Arif's mother cried silently in the corner. Arif stood frozen, gripping the cactus pot so tightly that his hands bled from the spines. He wanted to scream, to throw it, to run away. Instead, he whispered to it, "You survived. I will too." He cleaned the wound, wrapped his hand, and stayed awake that night, staring at the little cactus glowing under the moonlight. In its stillness, he found something: resilience. The next morning, he went to school early and found Ria sitting under the same park bench. She smiled, but then noticed his bandaged hand. "What happened?" she asked. He shrugged. "Just hugged something spiky." She laughed softly, then said something that would stay with him forever. "Maybe some things are spiky only until someone learns how to hold them right." That evening, Arif went home and found his father sitting silently on the couch, face buried in his hands. For the first time, Arif walked up and said, "It's okay, Dad. We'll figure it out." Those words broke something inside the man. Guilt, maybe, or pain. And he pulled Arif into a trembling hug. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't easy. But it was real. From that day, their home changed bit by bit. His father found work again. His mother started smiling more. And the cactus, once dry and dull, now bloomed more beautifully than ever. Years later, When Arif stood on a stage giving a school speech titled, "He Was Too Spiky to Hug," he held that same cactus in his hand. His voice cracked as he said, "Sometimes, the people who push you away are the ones hurting the most. They just don't know how to be held. But love finds its way through the spikes." The audience fell silent, then burst into applause as the camera fades out. You see that same park bench under the orange sky again. The cactus sits there beside a little plaque that reads asterisk asterisk for those who bloomed after being touched by kindness. And the voice of grown-up Arif whispers one last time. He wasn't too spiky to hug. He just needed someone brave enough to try.